Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 78th episode of PandTha Talks.
Hello.
We have one hell of an interesting week because
So I've been told.
I've been playing all sorts of games lately. I've played more of One Human. I've actually played One Human now, and I've played a lot more of Fallout London. On top of that, I have been looking around for some news articles for a change, which is something I don't usually do midweek, but I got a bit bored. So this week, what we have is something I actually wanted to cover back on the 22nd of July, so like a week or two back.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I forgot to cover it. And it's basically a bit of a call out from the Warframe developer's CEO. And the article's headline is Publishers Eject Too Soon on Their Live Service Games, says Warframe developer's CEO. It comes out, doesn't work, and they throw it away.
Sounds like games recently.
Yeah, exactly.
Games of any caliber, might I add, not just live service.
Very accurate. After that, we'll be covering Microsoft and Activision Blizzard forming a new team within Blizzard to work on smaller AA games based on existing IPs, which I think is a phenomenal idea.
It'd be interesting to see what comes out of it.
Oh, definitely. And finally, on the side of articles, before we move into the obvious game side,
Just realised I haven't even fucking clicked into this stream yet. I was just sort of sitting looking around like,
well,
something
where am
feels
I
wrong.
supposed to be looking? Bungie Layoffs couldn't have been avoided even if Destiny 2 The Final Shape had blockbuster performance, says report. There has been a lot of reports that have come out regarding the recent Bungie layoffs, including, apparently, I think it was the CEO invited a bunch of the staff who got fired to come look at his brand new expensive cars.
What?
Yeah, like 2 days before the firing.
This CEO bullshit, or just higher ups in general, where they're getting absurd amounts of money and they don't even do anything in terms of actually creating the game.
It's
It's,
starting to get a
it's,
bit much.
it's definitely going too far, man.
Oh, yeah. So, shall we get into these articles and cover everything that we've got this week? Because it's a hell of a good one.
Oh, yes.
Let's do this shit. Right, we'll start
Whoa,
out with
man. Why
Warframe.
so aggressive?
I'm always aggressive. So are you. Why are you taking a week off? What the fuck?
Shit. You be quiet over there. Wait, no, never mind. Keep going.
Yeah, I need to talk
Once
for
I'm
this.
finished.
That is the face. Oh, what's the Deviri Paradox? One of the updates they brought out for Warframe.
I see.
But no, I agree with this sentiment. They do get rid of them too soon. They just don't bother to like fix what they've created.
I mean, I feel like recently, in just any kind of game, we've seen that over the last year.
Oh yeah,
We've
100%.
we've had a few games, and some of them still working on it, and we say it all the time, but I'm going to say it again. Cyberpunk is a brilliant example of how
It's a
their
great
game
case
was
study.
hyped up, released in complete and utter chaos, and was total garbage. And now is just really enjoyable to run around shooting people. To be completely honest, and
100%.
the story is pretty good as well.
Yeah, no, I'm fully
And
with you on that.
there's a few others as well. Now I can't name them off the top of my head, obviously, because me and names don't go hand in hand. But majority of the time, it is just a case of a game gets released, it's complete garbage. It gets one or two updates that quote unquote fix it, that don't fix it, and then it just gets tossed to the side and left as a cash grab.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. So, While you might be sick of all the live service games that swarmed us in the last year, there's every chance that you've played at least one for a substantial amount of time. Fortnite, Destiny 2, Apex Legends. These games are popular for a reason. I disagree with that.
I love how
Um,
though it says last year, but all three of these games are multiple years
White
old now.
Old, yeah. The only reason I know this article came out in this in the last couple of weeks is because Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is mentioned. If it wasn't for that, I would not know what year this was released in.
What year? Not even what month, what fucking
Yeah.
year.
The fact remains that if a company can find the golden goose, it'll be set for years, if not decades. This has led, however, to a ton of otherwise promising games signing their own death warrant. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is this year's prime example. If they don't perform well immediately, they'll shut their doors months later, years if they're lucky. Digital Extreme's Warframe CEO, Steve Sinclair, argues in an interview with video game, I always forget the last bit, VGC, however, that companies are too quick to pull the ripcord if their games don't do gangbusters on release. They think the release is make or break, and it's not. They have a financial way to persist, and they never do it. It comes out, doesn't work, and they throw it away.
Because
Sinclair
that just
seems.
shows how much money they have. That if it doesn't work, they have that much money, they can just scrap it and start fresh.
Yeah,
They don't try and fix what's there already.
exactly. Sinclair seems to argue that most live service games, namely those backed up by huge publishers, as you just said, can probably have their ship steered away from the iceberg, stating it's a shame. When you put so many years of your life into iterating on those systems or building technology or building the start of a community, and because the operating costs are high, you get terrified when you see the numbers. We've seen this with amazing releases that I think have massive potential, and I think they eject too soon. To be honest, this guy is probably the best person to ask, because Warframe at release wasn't great, but it's been a free to play game that even now is still building numbers in the community. More and more people join that game every month.
That's the thing
So,
with live service games. That's the advantage they have. You're you're more likely to not only get new players but retain old ones. Whereas games that
yeah,
are like limited in gameplay or like become like have like a story sort of gameplay to them that does eventually come to an end, then your old players leave and even the new ones will eventually leave.
yeah.
Whereas games that are live service is they keep both. They keep the old and the new, so their numbers just keep growing.
Mm. The bit that always does me about Warframe as well, it has a story that's still coming out to this day. They're still working on it. And every single time they run an update, the game changes massively. So you'll see brand new players join because of one specific update. And it's not a very beginner friendly game at all. Everyone's in agreement of that. But oh my god, is it great? And considering they release every update for free and they've never charged us for an update, I think they're also kind of showing DLC prices aren't as necessary as people make them out to be. Anyways,
Sorry.
no problem. When it comes to the tragedy of a live service bomb, you'll hear no argument from me. I don't think Suicide Squad is some put upon underdog or anything, and I certainly don't feel bad for a publisher with deep pockets stepping on a rake. I do, however, I like that comment. I do, however, feel bad for the people who put the thing together. Every game takes a ton of hard work to make, even if the result isn't great. I will, however, quibble a little bit here. Warframe is absolutely a success story, cementing its place in the live service market after a long period of uncertainty. As then studio manager and now chief operating officer, Sheldon Carter told Polygon back in 2018, there were a few of us that would look at the numbers every morning and see if we could afford to keep everyone on staff with this project, and it was every morning. You could make the argument, one I won't ascribe to Sinclair here, at the risk of putting words into his mouth, that larger publishers have a bigger parachute to give it a go. Warner Bros. Lost $200 million on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, but it had the money to blow in the first place. It's not ideal, but I somehow don't think all Warner Brothers is going down because of this. On the other hand, these companies are shackled to the expectations of shareholders. No
It's all right.
executive.
Warner Bros is worth 20 billion, roughly.
Did you just go and Google that?
So that was what 1% of their net worth?
Yeah, I think so. It's either
Yeah.
1 or 10%. I think
No,
it's
it's
10.
1. 10% would be 2 billion.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah, 1%. Fucking hell.
Mm. And when you look at it in that perspective, that is an insignificant amount
Yeah, it's
to them
pennies.
anyway. I'd take that 200 mil in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah. No executive in their right mind is going to stroll into a meeting and say, hey guys, we beefed it, but maybe we should put some more money on red because I think this next spin's going to hit. I like the guy. Whoever this guy is, Harvey Randall, you write well.
What is that
I
picture though?
respect you. Good question. There's also the fact that 2 live service blowouts did actually try to do this, and it didn't pan out. Marvel Avengers had content updates for 2 years, while Exoprimal received 4 seasons, headed up by Square Enix and Capcom respectively. The size of those publishers and the considerable effort put into keeping them afloat did nothing to save them, save either title. Live service games are ultimately just a high stakes gamble that's nonetheless so lucrative it still pays off to try. And that to me is more of a problem. It's the kind of embrace a tier irresponsibility that has led to every publisher going, we could make a Destiny. It can't be that hard, with the same optimism as a very drunk guy about to fail a backflip. I'm glad things have worked out for Warframe, but its success story is just as much as an anomaly.
Phenomenal.
Wow, damn! I really messed myself up there. Anomaly, as something like No Man's Sky was admirable, but not a sound strategy with large.
I think what he said about live service games is perfect. They are a gamble.
Yeah,
We've seen many of them come out and do really well, and we've seen many of them come out and do the opposite. And ones that don't do well, we've seen both cases, both versions of that as well. We've seen them be pulled back out of the ground and eventually do well, and then again, we've seen those that have had loads of work put into them and still receive nothing, and eventually went downhill and took down.
no, I fully agree with that. It's to be honest, live service games really are, just as he says, they're gambles that are just way too much for some people. Warframe worked out, but only by the skin of its teeth, from the sounds of things.
Yeah. I think the road we're at right now with live service games isn't terrible with having so much cosmetics in it, because
Yeah,
it means everyone can play the game for free, and those that have the money can buy the cosmetics to keep the games going.
yeah,
And it's cosmetics, not here's a massive advantage over other players.
exactly that. Also, if we ever come across this guy writing again, I want to check it against this because there was not one stupidly written word, no
I don't
daft
know,
amount
man.
of
That
abbreviation.
that anomaly could have been a different word, to be
Fuck
honest.
you. But no, I like the guy. He can write normally. Microsoft and Activision have formed a new team, AA Games, based on existing IPs. I'm really intrigued by this. And thankfully, these ones are usually quite short and to the point, so I'm all for this. What you need to know. Over the past few weeks, many King employees have switched their LinkedIn profiles from King to Blizzard. King, if you don't know, is the people who make Candy Crush and that stuff. Yeah.
I'll be
We
play that shit. So boring.
I agree. We can
Have
reveal
you heard how they would work the systems of Candy Crush?
no.
Like after you pass X amount of levels, they intentionally make it like basically impossible. So you can't just like tear through the entire game. You're
Hmm.
forced. You'll no matter what lose all your lives after like winning a few levels, and then you have to wait. And by the time you remember to come back, it repeats itself. So you're always coming back to it.
That's always fun. We can reveal that Microsoft and Activision have formed a new smaller team within Blizzard comprised of King and various other employees to work on AA games based on existing Blizzard franchises like Overwatch, Warcraft, StarCraft, and beyond. It annoys me that these are the ones that they decide to mention
Yeah.
because these are technically all a bit above that standard. Now,
Yep.
games that I'd probably mention would be smaller, less known Activision games. Because if we actually look at the Activision IPs, let's see. They have Call of Duty, as we know, Crash Bandicoot, Guitar Hero, Tony Hawk, Spyro, Skylanders, World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo, Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch, and Candy Crush. I could have swore there
Not,
were others.
yeah, not a lot, realistically.
It's kind of annoying, actually. Oh, list of IPs. Now that's about what I was expecting. Blur, Caesar, Call of Duty, Candy Crush, Crash Bandicoot, Diablo, DJ Hero, Empire Earth, Gabriel Knight, Geometry Wars, Guitar Hero, Gun. Gun was one of my all-time favourite games as a kid. I want it back. Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm, Hexen, Interstate 76, King's Quest, Laura Bow Mysteries, The Lost Vikings, Overwatch, Phantasmagoria, Pitfall, I remember that as well as a kid. Police Quest, Prototype was ace. Quest for Glory, Singularity, Skylanders, Soldiers of Fortune, Space Quest, Spyro the Dragon, StarCraft, Tenchu, Time Shift, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, True Crime, World of Warcraft, and Zork. So yeah, they have actually got a fair couple. So in that case, why not mention some of them? But probably because
Yeah.
these are the ones that everyone knows.
Yeah. I mean, it would be good to see a massive company making smaller, more slightly closer to indie kind of games because they could pull them off really well,
Yeah,
and they
Double A
could
is
and like think
ace.
about how quickly they could push those out.
Mm.
Just like awesome little games, like or just little time killers or like something you can jump on every now and then for fun. In between waiting for all these triple A games coming out.
I mean, Double A games were like massive back in the day.
Yeah, now the only thing you hear of is triple A, triple A, triple A, triple A, triple A,
Mm.
and they're literally the biggest piles of garbage.
Oh yeah, definitely true. So Microsoft is keen to leverage its huge back catalogue of franchises it's acquired with its Activision Blizzard purchase of previous years. I think that's a solid idea. At the end of the day, bring
Absolutely.
out more of the like older games that people haven't seen in years. It'll bring a lot of people back.
Explore every opportunity. The new, the old.
Exactly that. Over the past
Live
few weeks,
action being considered as the current.
so we've already kind of covered that bit. Last year, Microsoft completed its acquisition of Activision Blizzard. We all already know that. Purchase gave them control over mega franchises like World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, King mobile games like Candy Crush Saga. We're starting already to see the impact on Xbox's bottom line, with Microsoft reporting a huge 61% growth year over year in its gaming division, driven largely by its Activision Blizzard operation across PC, gaming consoles, and mobile. Microsoft isn't done. Our sources indicate that Microsoft and Activision have approved the creation of a new team, which we've already kind of covered through the top bit. Sorry for that. Blizzard is known for those, and Microsoft is keen to curate and serve these franchises more prolifically than Activision itself previously did. Military sci-fi strategy series StarCraft, for example, has essentially been on mothballs since StarCraft Remastered in 2017, and Xbox CEO Phil Spencer himself has name-checked StarCraft during interviews about the acquisition in recent years. Still, you need teams to work on these classic franchises, and that's exactly what Microsoft is gearing up to do. And I can't fault them. As I said, it's well worth them doing. It's going to bring more money in for Activision Blizzard. It's going to give more people within that company jobs, places to go, all sorts of stuff. It's effectively probably one of the best things they could do. To that end, we're told that Microsoft and Activision's new team within Blizzard tasked to work on the AA smaller games based on existing franchises within the Blizzard universe. Given King's mobile expertise, it's possible that these will be mobile games aimed to support Xbox's planned mobile gaming store for iOS and Android.
Since you don't see anything like Diablo Immortal again.
Yeah, as long as that thing dies where it should have. Although we're not entirely... Go on, sorry.
Nothing like that, man. Please.
Yeah. Although we're not entirely sure that they'll be restricted specifically to mobile, given Microsoft's platform agnostic strategy across mobile, PC, and console, it's entirely possible that any fresh projects could run across platforms. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella recently described how it wants Xbox to focus on a three-pronged gaming approach across those endpoints, with Xbox console at its core. Solid plan. But no, I'm intrigued to see more about this down the line. But I think we're gonna be a little bit before we see anything about that.
Again, as long as they avoid the Diablo Immortal path, then I think it can pretty much lead to nothing but goodness.
No, I definitely do agree with you there. It's
But we'll have to wait and see what they come out with, eh?
exactly. It's gonna be a big case of waiting around and just seeing at the moment. But down the line, we could see some great things coming from it, and I'm very hyped to see that. So, Bungie. So let's just drop to the bad news before we move on to anything good, shall we?
I mean,
So
we've covered Destiny 2 before.
we have. They upset me.
I believe you should actually enjoy it.
I did, back when they were under Microsoft,
Yeah.
ironically.
And then they changed the game to free to play, and now you have to spend, what was it, like probably over 400 for all the DLCs?
You know what? Well, let's have a quick check.
We would have went over it at some point or another in another episode.
Oh yeah, but they've brought out more DLCs since then. Will
Oh, I know.
£345.88 for all DLCs.
That's just absurd.
Well, actually, you got to take off the 83, I guess. So take off that actually, and then just add that one, and that actually kind of. So take off £41.99, so it's about 300 quid. We'll call it there.
Still just a ridiculous price.
Oh yeah, it's fucking insane. And I own 2 of these.
And the free to play part of Destiny is the most mundane thing ever.
Oh yeah, it's boring as shit.
And you're just spammed with you can't do this because you need this DLC. Or you can't do that because you need this DLC. Like you're so limited in the actual free to play part. It's completely pointless it being free to play.
I'm actually kind of disappointed in some of my friends. You know what? Yeah. So as we know, they fired people. Annoyingly so. So someone spoke to ex-Bungie workers about yesterday's cuts. Go away. This round was in the works prior to final shape. Feeling is Bungie bosses oversold the studio to Sony. Not selling would have been worse. The alternate history is insolvency. So basically, it was either they sell to Sony or they just got rid of their company entirely. Bungie with Microsoft leadership with a problem. Bungie with Activision leadership with a problem. Bungie with Sony, maybe Bungie leadership were the problem after all? Fairly accurate. So, how bad do you have to be that, because there has been rumours about this, that Activision were the people telling Bungie that they need to stop? They were turning around and telling them, look, you have got too much. You are basically going to over monetize this game, and if you do, it is going to destroy it. This is Activision, who just care about money, and even they pulled back on the reins. Bungie didn't like it, Bungie left. Now, I actually enjoyed Destiny 2 when it was under Microsoft. I thought the main story, Activision, but I thought the main story was a bit hit and miss at times, but it was manageable, you know what I mean? This, though, is a shit show. You've gone from Microsoft to Activision to Sony.
Go through all the massive companies like.
Yeah, but the funniest part, when they left Activision, they bought themselves out. They paid Activision so that they could be independent. And now they've had to sell themselves back to Sony because they fucked up again.
I mean, we've just looked at the fact that it's got basically a £300 price tag.
Yeah.
Now, if we look at the current games and their absolute ridiculous price tags, we're sitting at what, 70 for a base game?
Yeah.
You add on all the DLC you can, and you're going to what we'll say pushing it at 120.
Yeah.
So they're still pretty much sitting at 3 times the price of brand new games. And Destiny 2 is how old now? Plus,
Ooh.
they're charging for ridiculous amounts for multiple DLCs.
It released on the 6th of September 2017.
So 7-year-old game that
Yeah.
is just adding price tag on top of price tag for DLCs that probably don't even equal to a full game.
You know the
Basically
funniest
sitting
part?
at 3 times the price of brand new releases.
They actually removed the content I paid for all that time ago on Activision Blizzard. They got rid of it entirely. A lot of the content's gone. And that was the stuff I enjoyed. They got rid of it. And I didn't get, obviously, like, any compensation, anything like that. That was the first time I'd properly experienced a game just taking shit from me that I'd paid for. I was fuming, honestly. And
Why wouldn't you be?
when I heard it was going free to play at first, I was like, you know what? Cool. This could actually turn out really well. My friends could join, could go through the story with them, bring them through, and it wouldn't cost them a penny. It'd be great. And then I started it that day that it became free to play. And I realized every single person who had not started before was suddenly max level, same level as me. I was actually a lower level than some of them because I'd already done all the stuff that they were doing. I got penalized for playing the game already, which just makes
And
me
also
so
having to
miserable.
pay for it.
Yeah. Honestly, mate, it was such a mess. Really was.
It is. It still is such a
I'm
mess. I remember playing it, and it was just such a boring experience.
Yeah.
Now I'll be honest, like my takes of games of such
Yeah,
aren't
your
great
track
because
record on MMOs isn't great.
I want to like them, but just the way they work for getting better gear is it's just so boring to me. It's like, oh, this gun does 0.2 damage more than my current gun. Let's swap that out. Kills one more enemy. Oh, this gun does 0.2 more damage than that gun I just found. Kills another
Yeah,
enemy. Rinse and repeat.
I'm not too big on that style either. It annoys me.
And you know I like weapons in
Yeah.
games. And when you're constantly swapping out one weapon for another that has slightly different stats and different abilities and different attachments, it gets a bit too annoying.
Oh yeah. So, shall we cover this mess? This week's mass layoffs at Destiny. Bungie, Destiny Studio, Bungie, there we go. That was fucking weirdly written. Were planned out months ago. Former employees have told journalist Stephen Totilo GameFile, paywalled. According to Totilo, Bungie leadership overstated their studio's financial prospects to Sony after the latter bought Bungie in 2022 for $3.6 billion. That is a big mistake to make.
Yep.
The latest cuts were necessary to prevent continued losses, says the report, after Bungie missed Sony's targets following the release of last year's Lightfall. On Wednesday, it emerged that Bungie were laying off 220 people, about 17% of their total workforce, across multiple departments, including design, art, narrative, and sound. Additionally, they announced the transfer of a further 155 roles to Sony Interactive Entertainment, with the aim to form a new PlayStation studio working on an untitled incubation project. So,
Essentially, just lost about a third of their staff almost.
oh, they easily lost a third. Yeah, that's insanity. CEO Pete Parsons attributed the upheaval to dire financial straits at the studio, mentioning a broad economic slowdown, a sharp downturn in the games industry, and our quality miss with Destiny 2 Lightfall. No, it's just all the latter. You fucked up badly.
No quality there either.
Yeah.
Only
Well,
quantity of our coin.
yeah. Although Tatila's sources point out that the well-received final shape actually sold worse than the panned Lightfall, that's just bad. The recent layoffs seemingly have little to do with the final shape's commercial performance either way, and couldn't be avoided, even if the final shape had blockbuster performance.
I don't know if it had blockbuster performance, is that not what they're aiming for? So people don't have to be laid off because they
You'd
make
think
enough
so.
money. Is that not how these things work?
Typically, yes.
Or are they just laying people off just because they can?
I mean, well, as the rumors have come out that the CEO showed his brand new
Yeah.
cars that were quite costly to the people days before they were fired.
I mean, let's be honest. The prices they're charging, they need about 5 people to fucking buy the DLC, and that's everyone's wages paid for a week.
Oh, yeah. The layoffs sound to be a continuation of the cuts made last October, which saw around 100 staff laid off, including veteran composer Michael Salvatore. The report also suggests that Bungie's financial troubles existed long before the Sony acquisition, with one former employee saying that the alternate history is insolvency. If the studio weren't acquired, adding Destiny is an incredibly expensive game to make. Do you want to take a look at the free to play Warframe for some advice? I mean, just a suggestion.
I mean, let's be honest. Their financial troubles definitely existed before Sony because they bought themselves out of Activision.
Yeah.
What the fuck is with the clip above?
I've
I
got
just saw
no
what looked
idea.
like a very small
I
cat punching the
refuse.
groin of a child.
There we go. As for the future of Destiny 2 itself, Moises Tavares at Kotaku paints a picture of a much diminished ongoing timeline for the FPS, which is unsurprising given how much critical talent is no longer at the studio. There appears to be no certainty that Destiny will even be around in a few years, writes Tavares, or that it is a priority to the studio outside of being a cash cow riddled with microtransactions. So I'm just going to do this once more before obviously we move on. So my favorite tool in existence, SteamDB.
It does come in useful.
It does, doesn't it? It's been great. So right now there are 50,000 people playing this game. So what we're going to do is we're going to compare it to two other games. Now one of these games you'll already know what it is. We're going to compare it to Warframe. I think that's a fair one to compare.
What blows me away is there 50,000 players and they're still struggling.
Yeah.
Because, think of the percentage of those that bought the new DLC. Think of the percentage of those that currently own all the other DLCs. Or even the percentage of those that have only bought one or two of the DLCs. That's an absurd amount of money. How on earth is this company struggling?
Exactly that. So we've compared these. We can clearly see Warframe is doing better in regards to this. If we take a look at the graph, though, I think that's probably the best way to do this. Here we go. So the chart shows that typically on a weekly period, this is about average. If we take a look,
60,000.
Yeah, they have their peaks. I'm actually a part of these peaks because it's whenever they release new content. You can see there are two peaks in this last year, and you can see it's about average that they peak up.
What's that? Like peaking to 100k though, that's crazy.
Yeah, for an old game as well. They bring you back with like the fucking old stuff. I mean, look at that. Nearly 200k.
And that's the thing though with a live service game. That's the advantage.
Exactly that. Now, if we take a look at Destiny 2, and we'll do the exact same thing I just did there. So we'll start it off at a week. So their average is actually about, it can hit 66.
But they're dropping to like 25 to 30k.
Yeah.
Quite often.
Their averages aren't great in that one, but I'd say it's about roughly the same. So then we'll go to 6 month. So their peak, which was their best they ever had. Oh, wait, no, so this is 6 months ago. This is when the Final Shape DLC released. 314,000. Pretty good count.
So it's fair to say that about 200,000 people bought that DLC at minimum.
Oh, yeah. And
so I ask, how in the world is this company struggling?
Ooh, that's nasty. So this was the initial release, 292,000. Here is when Beyond Light released, which they got 242,000. Here's where The Witch Queen released, 290,000. Here's where Lightfall released, 316,750, which is their all-time high. And they fucked up royally with this, which is why you can see such a drop. Which is
But you can see though, before every DLC, there's so few players in comparison.
And then
every time they release a DLC, they're getting 200,000 players coming back and buying that DLC.
Yeah. Exactly that.
That is just an insane amount of money.
Of course it is. So, we got one more game to compare with. And I'm going to compare it to a new game. A brand new game.
Are you allowed to talk about this game?
I am. So, obviously it's not been out for as long, so I can't look as far back into its history. But what I can do is I can pull up Destiny 2's old times and stuff. So, Destiny 2's old times, things like that. This is the review, because apparently a few people have been banned and they're getting upset about that, which is interesting. Their lowest count was on the
That had
3rd
to
of
be a
1st of
server
August.
crash.
It has to have been, doesn't it?
Had to be down for an entire day.
Like the game's only been out for like a week. That has to be a server crash. Yeah, down for an hour. So that's 1 hour,
Literally.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it gets
There's
back to normal.
8,000 people that were still able to play though when everything else was down. We're probably I can get
Yeah,
ahead.
I can do this.
Screw my
So
friends. I'm gonna go way ahead of them. That'd be awesome.
obviously, this is the first week. We do have to give it time before this will settle down. But once again, completely free to play. And doesn't charge you for microtransactions to get ahead or get DLC Destiny 2. But anyways, I think it's time we move on from
Yeah.
Destiny because I think they're going to
I'm
sadden me
gonna
too much.
I'm gonna go ahead and say we've definitely got the point across that they fucked up when they
Yeah.
started charging over £300 to play the entirety of their game.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. So I thought, I was thinking for a bit, like, how do I cover one human and, like, cover it with relative detail? And I decided the only way I could really do it was to show a bit of the game that I've got to. Because as you can see, I've given it a decent time.
Can we talk about though how like when you go into the open world where there's other players, you fucking Fortnite drop in?
Yes, we can. Don't worry. But
And
this,
why is
this
it that I
was.
can't take 2 steps
I need
without a
to.
ghost of a player?
Yeah, the whispers.
Yeah, they
Well,
they aggravated the fuck out of me.
they did me. That's why I turned them off.
I looked and couldn't find what the fuck the option was, so I
Well,
just
they're called whispers. So basically, you go into your settings and you just go to the bottom of the page, and that will show it.
I know the
Oh,
settings seem very they seemed very limited considering there's like 4 settings on the
there.
graphics page. Huh.
Graphics. Yeah,
Yep,
that's for
settings.
basic. Go to performance.
Don't even think I saw that tab.
Yeah. Also, I really need to like. Oh no, they've only got the AMD one. No. Mean. Oh well. Let's enter the game. So I've been playing for about 24 hours on this save. Each time you join a server, you create a brand new character and you start fresh. So it's a bit like Rust in that way. You start fresh when you join a different server. You can join with friends, but you will all be doing separate things. So I'll just quickly grab these because I was working away at things. So this is my little base. It's not very good, but I've got potatoes growing.
Bro, you just killed the flowers.
No, it's potato.
You brought to climb into his doorstep.
Oh yeah. I'm very
Something
bad at
that
building
likes.
bases. You should know this actually. Oh. Well, that's not so good. So, yeah. This is kind of the game summed up. There's a lot of menu traversal.
Yeah, this is another reason why I don't like MMOs. Is it's just 50% of the gameplay is menus.
To be honest, I thought it was going to be worse than it was, I must admit. The only reason I end up going into menus is like quickly sorting my gear, choosing my guns, stuff like that, upgrading my equipment, and that's about it because I can't be asked with the rest of it. Don't need it. The only other thing is these sort of things. Journeys. Claim them, they'll give you a reward. Controllers, Starcraft, that sort of stuff. You get rewards from doing certain things, so on and so forth. Season passes that literally are completely free. I actually kind of like these. Complete so many, you'll hit a star. Each star gains you items. Makes sense. And then you got a battle pass. The battle pass, Will. How bad do you expect it to be?
But it's similar as the rest.
All these are in the normal battle pass, meaning you don't pay for it. These
Yeah.
are items that you can use in the game. All these are cosmetics. This is the paid battle pass. All you get is cosmetic items. You
What
do
are the
not
keys,
get.
though?
The keys are literally just to get, for redeeming cosmetic items in Battle Pass shop. So if we actually go to the shop, Battle Pass shop, this is what the keys are for. That's it.
No.
I wouldn't use them. I don't see a point. And I think you can earn certain things from it. Anyways, the building. Really easy to use, simplistic, makes sense. You can figure it
It's
out pretty
just
quick.
menu on menu, though.
Oh yeah.
Every tab has 6 other tabs. It's just too much.
See, that doesn't bother me, but you're kind of used to, I'd imagine, Rust layout.
No, you know I play a lot of different games.
Sorry, Rust, 7 Days to Die, that's about it.
Play a lot of different games, Rory.
I'm on about in recent weeks.
Just because I currently main a couple of games, because all my other games I used to play, I've pretty much finished as much as I can.
Oh, which ones?
It's been a while since I played any of them. I went through and replayed my fucking childhood games again.
Yeah.
There's a few indie games I used to play, like Dig or Die, Mindustry, stuff like that. They were great fun. Mindustry even is sometimes a bit much for me with menus, but that's more just fucking remembering where the different things are and how to build them.
Fair play. Anyways, basic building system, as I said, that's not too
Why
much.
is there a giant bunny dinosaur on your roof?
It's my dinosaur that helps me with my cooking. So you got to the bit, yeah, where you got the butterfly to help you fight.
Yeah, but didn't figure out how to use it and couldn't be bothered because I had to go through 17 menus to figure out how to use it and listen to 7,000 lines of dialogue.
I forget how basic of a person you are when it comes to these things.
I had no interest in the game, and if I have no interest in the game, I'm not going to take my time to listen to dialogue, man. Especially when it's as much dialogue as was in the start of this.
What I'll tell you, Will,
just to tell me how to go and fucking mine an ore. Fuck.
I'm gonna say this with complete certainty. I skipped every line of dialogue in the intro 3 times playing through this. I still saw the pop up on my screen to tap E.
Nope. I skipped. I was too busy focusing on just spamming the ever-loving fuck
Out of the
out
space
of
bar.
the skip dialogue button that I didn't even fucking see anything, bro.
Yeah, no, that's all good. So, yeah, you can use basically them, and each of your deviations can be used. Deviations you capture, that's what the fucking dinosaur thing was that you saw.
Yeah, just more RNG statistics. Yeah, love it.
Actually, no.
No, I saw it at the start when you tried to fucking capture it, and it makes you fail the first one to then go and talk to the woman with
Yeah.
17 more dialogue lines about how you failed to capture it.
Well, yes, you fail that one. Typically, these ones, you do a mission and you capture it first try. You just
Right, so
do the
there's ones
mission
that
related.
guarantee capture, but what about wild ones, Roy? Let me guess, RNG?
No, I just find them and they just seem to be in places. Capture them first try. There's like one I think I've got. Let me see if I can find it.
I actually I named my character Chinster 9000, by the way. I absolutely obliterated their face.
Oh, here it is. The flame essence was the only one that I had to attempt to capture 3 times.
Sounds
And
fun.
all I literally did was just walked after it.
I need to,
Tried again. And they moved away and walked back, did the same thing.
I need to try and get my character to send you a screenshot.
So, those are your deviations. Basically, some of them will work in your territory and help you with things. Some will help you with fighting, some defense, so on and so forth. I've got to say, there is a lot to do. The map is fucking massive. The only downside is, do you see this little bit here? That's like the cap.
Right,
As
for
you can
now
see.
though, no.
For now, yes. That's it. So, eventually, this rift space that you see all over here is eventually going to be accessible. And it's going to be one massive map. So they've got you to level 50 just on this small section. And even this feels like quite a large area. You've got vehicle construction, which, I'll be honest, I spend so long on my fucking bike, it's a bit daft. The combat isn't... I don't have much of enjoyment with it, to be honest with you.
So what else would you do in the game then, if you're not?
I don't enjoy it much, but I find myself just spending time crafting and creating. As I said, like, I got a hold of a shotgun and it kind of became a pad. Easy. Shotgun and sniper combo. Just easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Am I enjoying it though for the other elements? Definitely. I'm actually having a hell of a lot of fun with it. But I'll be honest, main reason why? I was playing it with friends. Same as with Rust and many other games. The way these sort of things become a more enjoyable experience, you play them with others.
Different reasons that it becomes a more enjoyable experience when playing with more friends. You go play Rust solo and let me know how much fun you have.
Yeah, that's just depressing. I must admit that I do enjoy blowing people's heads off. That is quite enjoyable. Also, I didn't like that they didn't tell you that you could just like aim down sights by just tapping right click instead of holding it down.
Like you're gonna prefer holding ADS than
Yeah,
toggling.
you hold it
Fucking
down,
toggles.
you do that. You tap it, you actually aim down sight. So it's either zoom or ADS. Which annoyed the hell out of me, I must admit. There is, as you can probably tell, a fair amount to do on the map. You've got teleportation towers, rift anchors, a bit like most open world games really in this regard. You've got side quests, main quests, deviants to collect, silos to complete, trying to think of everything else. Apparently vending machines that have other players to go and trade with. Okay. Each area as well can have its own materials that you're going to want to find. And those will help you get higher tier equipment, which will assist in later game stuff. As you can tell, I've got no fucking defenses on my place, because I once did a thing that created a load of enemies at my location and kind of fucked me over. So I never did it since. This fucking machine will remain here and just never be used. You use this and everything comes. Level 25 and all of these. Recommends 4 players, 3 monster waves, 2 elites. Fuck off.
It's not like the siren head you fight at the start of the game that dies to a crossbow, because that makes sense.
Oh no, these are a lot more fucking annoying. Actually, there's one that I think I know exactly where it is, and if I do, I need to go there just to show you this fucking dickhead. He caused me so much pain. I think it's Sunbury. But there's a guy that's basically a bloom. Not even sure if this is it. Still need to refuel and repair my bike, but Anyhow, I'll worry about that when I get my fucking car created instead.
They have our radio stations in the game?
Yeah, they've got radio stations. Don't get me wrong, I'd love a radio station that's, ow, a bit more. I still can't figure out how to turn them off. I got kind of my friend laughing at me for that, so I just kept it on. There's also more than just zombies and big bosses. Turns out I'm at the wrong place, sadly. When you first enter a town as well, you have explore objectives, which gets you to actually do run around. I got so annoyed at some of them though, I left them. They were just, I could not figure them out. But going up against humans, I thought it would be harder. As you can see. Anyways. Yeah, I know, and you know what? You're dead. You're dead. You're, well, insane. You're dead. And I think that should now be it. Cool. Right. Let me nip back home. And there is one more part to the game, really, that I should probably cover. It's not really my cup of tea. I don't really like this sort of thing. But they have another section.
Your dragon thing appears to be in the floor. Never mind.
How he manages to get around when I struggle, I don't know. So you've got another thing called a Turnaland. You only get it after a certain amount of time, I think. I'm really not sure. But basically, it doesn't have any of the seasons, any enemies, that sort of stuff. It's more of a peaceful location. You can't even bring your fucking car in, which annoys the shit out of me. But oh well. Believe it's over this way. There it is. I created a house over there. These were just randomly here, but basically all it is, you just create shit here. That's the entire top and bottom of it. You sell things that you've collected in the normal world, and then you can use the material that you sell, that you get from selling them, to create things here. I don't get it, to be honest, but for some people who like building, fair enough. Power to you, I suppose. Not my cup of tea, this part. I've been enjoying the rest of it, as I said. It's been relatively enjoyable. And plus, I'm getting journeys from it, so some positives. But this is about the top and bottom of it, is what the game gives you. There's a lot to do, a lot to spend your time on. It's more the aspect for me that ending up, if I want to play with a friend, we both have to start fresh on a new server together, unless we're already on one. Which is becoming interesting, because I don't know if you had this issue when creating your character, Will, but you got to pay attention for this red thing.
I saw that shit.
Yeah. For the first couple days, the population's high. Mine have been up for a couple days, and you can see the population count now. A lot of people aren't playing them anymore. They've stopped. That's just the way it goes. First couple days, people play. And then it goes really fucking quiet. But anyways, that's one human. There's not much else I can really add to that. So I just thought I'd give a quick run round of it and what I've been doing. As I said, for most of it, honestly, I've just been running around, collecting, crafting, that sort of shit. I'd like it if the combat was a bit more intuitive, to be honest. Because I managed to defeat a level 10 boss at level 6 with relative ease. But now I need to ask you a question, Will.
Mm-hmm.
What did you end up doing in your 66 minutes? Because
Being very
obviously,
bored.
that's the thing. You and me had completely different opinions on it from
Fortnite
what we played.
landed on some fucking satellite place up on top of a hill, killed the monsters 3 times in a row because they just instantly respawn when you walk 10 feet out of the area. Whacked a bunch of nodes, set down 4 foundations, and put up a furnace.
Huh.
Oh,
Yeah,
and I
that's
killed
about
it.
true.
Killed like 4 deer.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I ended up hunting a lot of deer myself. But yeah, I can see why. It's, to be honest with you, it's one of them games. If you've got friends with you, you can get through it. If you don't, you're probably going to find it a bit tedious.
My issue with MMOs playing with friends is I'm really unlucky, and no matter what, they always involve RNG. You go to run something for a particular resource, I get none, friend gets tons, multiple times in a row, and it aggravates the fuck out of me. I've just never had a good experience with them.
That's the thing. I'm about the same in that regard. I always end up having bad luck with RNG. Thankfully, I've not dealt with any RNG that's like properly paining my ass yet. I'll probably keep playing until I've hit a point where I've got nothing else left to do, but I'll keep you up to date on that. It's probably not going to be amazing. But the one that I promised you I'd cover this week, the final thing before we end the episode, Fallout London. What what is my opinion after playing for a fair amount longer? So, as I did last week, I managed to fix the game, which was great news. I was very happy about this. I managed to sit down and play for a couple hours. I managed to go into the Thames. I met a new humanoid type, which was interesting. One that doesn't even exist in regular Fallout, which is quite cool. A lot has been posted since about Fallout London. And what I primarily wanted to say, and I do agree with some posts I've seen, Bethesda don't really acknowledge mods unless it's through their system and they get paid for it, if you know what I mean. And they've stayed extremely quiet when it comes to Fallout London. Some people are trying to claim, well, if they acknowledge it, then they've got to take them to court for IPs. I don't think that's quite how this works. It's amusing to think that way, but no. I just think it's Bethesda being Bethesda, to be honest. It's starting to show Bethesda up quite badly because a lot of it is created well. It uses. Do you remember in Fallout 3 / New Vegas, the bit you played? They had the perk and trait system instead of the Fallout 4 fucking pick from a poster system.
I don't remember. I only played Fallout 3. I don't remember.
Basically,
very long time ago.
It's
No, I know what you're on about. Though.
Yeah, I think I showed it you last week, if I remember
You did,
right.
yes.
Yeah. So they brought that back and a lot of other things similar to the older games, but they kept enough that you knew what game it was from, basically. So the way I'll put it, they brought back some of the older mechanics that Bethesda got rid of, which made a lot of people very happy. They brought back difficulty in a Fallout game. A lot of people, including myself, are needing to use a lot of, like buff out and stuff like that. We're needing the chemicals to actually, the chems to get us by. And one of the most ironic things that happened during my time playing, you'll probably get a laugh out of this one, Will. My character has become addicted to smoking.
Oh, what a surprise.
But the reason I was smoking wasn't what you think. I was smoking because it gives me a 5% XP boost. And now, after 3 cigarettes, my character got addicted, which was fun. But I was wanting the 5% XP boost because I took the perk that gives me +1 to all my special stats, but removes 15% of my XP gain. So that would only nullify it to a 10% XP gain loss. So I was kind of mitigating with cigarettes, and it's kind of come back to bite me in the ass. So I'm kind of scavenging cigarettes from everything at the moment. The first quest.
Oh, you're just making me think of some of the people that come around to my shop.
The first quest I did with these new humanoids, I had to go up against large, well, fucking huge snake-sized leeches. Which feels weird because I thought they were like more global leeches. You'd see them everywhere, but for some reason it's taken a game based in London to actually come across them in Fallout. I'm actually kind of shocked we've not seen them in a Fallout game before this. That was not a great experience, I must admit. I felt a bit off. I don't get along with snake-sized things or snake-looking things. They're not great. And killing them with a switchblade because I didn't have a proper gun at that time was interesting. That I do not recommend. The animations pretty solid. Sometimes you do find yourself going into places and there's not anything really in there that's worth going to explore it. But other times you really do have to keep your eyes open to like double and triple check things, because I came across a named object and it was just hidden away in a corner in a place that I'd fucking like glanced over 4 times. I was so annoyed about it. But that's where some of the best gear can be. It's just hidden out the way. The world design is really, really well done. You're actually do you know the bridges sometimes in like Fallout, the rope bridges that you go across? In
Yeah.
Fallout London, they made them a bit more prevalent in some areas. And like it's just fucking wood planks tied to a surface. And these wood planks aren't great. So, as you'd imagine, if this was real life, you are going to fucking struggle to keep your balance up there. Yeah, I fall off that thing about 6 times. I was going through some water that was. I was going to walk into some water basically that was just. It looked like it was irradiated. I was expecting, oh yeah, I'll probably just get like +5 rads a second.
Was this the clip I saw? Were you getting 250 rads?
Yep.
I saw a clip on that. The guy didn't die to it for some reason. He just. I wish I had it on hand to send it to you. You would get a good chuckle out of it.
There was Radex that basically prevented, that almost completely got rid of the issue, which was great. But in this instance, it was just a mess. But yeah,
the guy is still getting plus 250 rads a second. His entire health bar was red. He just didn't die for some reason.
he got fucking lucky. I jumped out of it the moment I saw +250. But that's the highest rads I think I've ever seen. In a Fallout game, anyways. But it's, to be brutally honest, it's one of the best pullbacks to Fallout that I've seen in a very long time. I'd love to get some footage and bring it up, but I don't want to show anything that's going to be considered spoiler, which is the issue. So I'm kind of holding back capturing footage for a week to use it until I think it's been enough time. Everyone should have at least got their hands on it and played some, considering it's free to play. And in like a couple of weeks' time, I'll probably capture some footage and we'll cover that. That sound good to you?
Yep.
Sounds good. Right. I think I've covered everything to the best of my ability, which doesn't really say much, but still, here we are.
I'm still just blown away at Destiny and Bungie just being a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, I had noticed you definitely did seem to be not quiet about that one. It was. I don't think either of us really expected it to be as bad
I
as it
still
was.
can't get over how much money they clearly made off of it.
Hmm. I wonder if there is anywhere online some sort of count for this.
I mean, you can clearly see at least 200k bought the fucking DLC, man.
Oh yeah.
More, definitely more, but a minimum.
I wonder if there's anything like this. What? The final shape pre-orders pass 1 million.
I rest my case. I'm over here saying 200k and you're coming out with fucking a mil. Was he
Yo.
showcasing like an entire Ferrari shop of cars or just one car?
I don't know. Let me see if I can find it. Bungie CEO shows off cars before staff. Before staff, what is it called? Layoffs. I remember the Friday before the first layoffs, me and another CM were in the lobby, and I was literally talking about how I didn't have enough money for groceries. Pete walked right up to us and bragged about a few new expensive cars he bought and that we should come up to his house and see them.
How many's a few?
Typically, a few's free.
Yeah, 3 or more is a few.
Yeah.
So that ranges from 3 to infinite.
Oh wait. Included screenshots of both the tweets and a Bring A trailer listing here. Since I'd wager Parsons simply missed them in what appears to be a rash social media deletion. 38,000 mile 1990 BMW M3, $180,000.
So that would be what we'll say 7 staff members' yearly wages.
Probably.
That
So
you
yeah,
just spent on a vehicle that can probably barely run because it's got so many miles on it.
it's great fun, mate. Welcome to Bungie.
Ugh.
So they're definitely getting put into our Christmas list this year, aren't they? On the worst.
The worst part is though, it's not just them because there's so many other companies that are making good profits on their games and still laying off staff because higher ups are wanting more money.
Yeah, our year recap this year is going to be very difficult, and I have to mention that because we're 4 months away from the end of the year, which is mental.
Well, technically 5.
Are we throwing a very large technicality in our way here?
It's not very large. It's 3 days off of a technicality.
I don't give two fucks.
Your technicality is 27 days off. So I don't know. I don't know what battle you're thinking you're gonna win here.
Well, you know what? This entire podcast is a technicality.
That you know what? Can't argue with that.
Exactly. But with all that said and done, I don't have anything else to mention. Do you have anything you'd like to mention, Will?
Make survival games more survival-esque.
Yeah. No, I can definitely get behind that.
You can get end game in 5 minutes, dude. It's boring.
Yeah. Or just make good games. Just flat out.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Make a game good.
Yeah.
Game made
Preferably
good.
co-op.
Oh. Maybe tossing a cheeky VR one here and there.
Yeah, a cheeky VR co-op game would be absolutely phenomenal
Yeah.
if that could happen. But anyways, thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed, feel free to like, follow, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And remember, the Discord link is in the description. I think I covered everything there.
You probably forgot something, but
I
what can you
typically
do?
do. I know, right? But anyways, thank you all for watching, and we will see you all next time. Bye for now, guys.
Have a good one, guys. See you again.